This video is brought to you with the help of my patrons. Hi guys, it's Maria. In this video I have something a bit different. This is Repainting Originals, customizing series where I keep the original characters. And this is Novi Star's see-through. She has 3 outfits and I chose to make a similar one to the rock star. I didn't want to use the included one because it's plastic and it is a bit sticky. And of course a new wig and more. I chose more vibrant colors, but the yellow didn't really came out how I would like it and I just mixed it with a bit of pink. To make the wig cap, I couldn't find a good fabric because she's a bit transparent, and I decided to give it a try with 2 layers of tutu, and it actually worked out perfect. I trimmed the excess and I used a hairband and a pen to do it again more precise. I wanted to have a perfect color split, and to have a guideline I traced the center of the wig cap. To glue the wefts, I was switching colors before starting a new layer. To trim the fringe, I just cut both sides under an angle like on the box art. And to style it, I gave it a dry cut. She had to go through a bit heavier modification because her eyes were carved in for the eyelashes, so I chose to open them. The neck piece was a bit tough to pull out, but carefully with hot water I managed to do it. I used the smallest drill bit that I have to carefully outline the eyes. The glue was too difficult to remove and I used my Dremel to file most of it out. I shaped her eyes and I also removed the paint on the head because it was way too shiny and it had a lot of imperfections. I sealed it and then I used the watercolor pencil to slightly sketch the outlines of the eyeliner. Next I used soft pastels to build color and, like with the eyeliner, to use as a guideline to airbrush with paint. I taped around where I want to airbrush and made sure that there are no gaps for the paint to go through. My pink nail color looked more like orange, so I just mixed a bit to get the right shade. I used again a watercolor pencil to repeat the outlines. To fill in with color, I used gouache paint. And I also used it to paint her lashes. This time I switched to soft pastels to build the color. I wanted her to have a cute expression and I drew her a smile. And I used paint for more detail. Next I used white pencil to add highlights. And I switched again to pastels to do the blushing. For more depth, I used pencils. And I used pink and white shimmer. For more detail, I also added blue on her lashes. Gloss and glitter for a finish. Before I glued the lashes, I cut them so it is easier for me to control how I want them to look. I've been asked a few times how I'm making my monster high dolls. I go a bit extreme there and I actually glue each hair separately. It's a bit crazy, I know, but I really like how they turn out. I made her resin eyes by mixing and coloring a 2-part epoxy for the bases. And to color the iris, I'm mixing a bit of shimmer. Before curing, I sprinkled glitters. I'm aiming to make them look similar to the box art. And I thought, why not add stars for more detail and to look like a tiny galaxy. I cured them before creating the dome, otherwise it gets messy. And then I glued them. I didn't want to mess up and waste a lot of fabric, because I didn't have much, so I used tape and foil to cover and trace her pattern. Then I transferred it on a tracing paper. I ended up making one piece that had to be stitched on the back. For the top part, I sewed a piece with dots. And to be a bit similar to the box design, I used two pieces for the shoulders. To make it a bit crazy, I used aluminium wire as a belt. I made her sleeves and stockings, but I didn't want to sew them to the whole outfit because it would be impossible to put on. I know some Novi stars have pets, I'm not sure if all, but Sissy didn't come with one. And I got the idea of a mini hair magnet octopus. This time I used shimmer powder to color some clay and blend it with non-color to make the tentacles. I wanted it to have more character, and I also made it a lollipop. After baking, I used glossy glue to sprinkle glitter on top of it. And I attached it with a bit of glue. For her antennae, I used again aluminium wire. I tried my best to make them as close to the original as possible. And I cured pieces of glitter. I parted the hair to style the buns, and then I used mini hair bands to tie it. I fluffed them a bit to give them more volume. Since I want to keep the volume and for the buns to have more support, I used 2 mini clips and styled the hair around them. And for even stronger hold, I also used hairbands. I glued the antennae, and to match with the octopus I added glitter. I want to say thank you to my patrons that helped me bring this video out. It wouldn't have been possible without you guys. Thank you! And thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe and share with friends, it helps me a lot. See you next time, bye!